Hello guys, this is Infinum here. Today we're going to do a different video. We're going to do tier lists. I don't know, let's venture a little bit. We often have videos that are just gameplay and stuff. What about just talking, just chatting about Galaxy of Heroes, right? I don't know, let's start with it. So the idea here is to just talk about the best teams that are out there, although some characters here that maybe we'll see how it goes. A lot of characters that rely on which support they have around them, and of course Galactic Legends will fill this S tier, that's for sure. So maybe we can start off with some of the no-brainers. I think General Skywalker is a safe A tier team to place in here. Of course, General Skywalker belongs pretty well to Jedi Master Luke and General Skywalker, and even Rey, in whichever scenario you want to put him on. But as a leader, he's also amazing when he rocks the 501st with him. It's still one of the most powerful squads to go against, so it's just a very good team that you still have to rely on. Rex, very fast build, 5s with the sacrifice mechanism, just a very solid team to use on offense. And General Skywalker, what an amazing character he is. Maybe can venture over to Darth Revan as well. Darth Revan with Darth Malak, it's a very good combination. There's so many teams that try to dethrone this Darth Revan, and it used to be such a speed meta back then. And now there's a lot more tools of teams that want to step up and actually try to beat Darth Revan. Some of those do include Veers and Bosk. I kind of want to highlight them here. Vader as well. Of teams that are just trying to punch up against Darth Revan in regards to having, for example, a very fast Piet or Stark and try to get their 30-meter train rolling before Darth Revan goes, or you allow Darth Revan to go and then use Vader to punish the ferocity and Calling Blade him. And a bit the same can be used with the Boba Fett strategy under this Bosk team, or Amanda Disintegrate over to Malak, also needed in that team. There's a lot of very interesting squads that try to beat Darth Revan, and I think the amount of counters that you try to find over to this team that doesn't get overkilled by its most amazing hard counter is still one of the most interesting things that is with Darth Revan. You still can't use just any team against it. Of course, Padme can also beat it, but I mean, some of these teams can also beat it, but it's just these three seem to be the most common nowadays of what I see of people trying to use these squads against. In regards to more A-tier teams, I think Rebels are amazing. Rebels are so difficult to fight. There's actually a pretty good counter to Rebels, which is Grievous. Grievous becomes very interesting to fight against these Rebels because of all the target lock trying to cancel out their counters. Of course, if you CLS against Grievous, you can have some pretty not fun matchups in regards to that team. Definitely one very interesting one that just puts you at the edge of your seat at the start, just because Han will stun someone from your team and they go before you do, unless you're willing to CLS mirror. It's a very difficult battle. You might have to overkill it. I mean, it's not really overkill, it's but maybe you don't feel as happy in using teams like this. CLS can even beat some Galactic Legends, not on defense, right? But on offense, he can do alright against some certain JML teams. I've seen him beat some Kylo teams, but although that's not too reliable. Definitely one interesting team that just steals a lot of banners and on offense can also be, for example, 60 banners against the Padme squad. Definitely one of the most interesting Rebel teams. They're definitely one of the most interesting teams. Speaking of A-tier teams, I'm still trying to figure out how to rank this part, but let's at least try to briefly talk about them. I think Game Troopers are ones that are growing on me. They keep getting the support between Moff Gideon. They keep growing their support between Dark Trooper. What an amazing character he is. And honestly, since they do beat Sith Eternal, there's some other compositions that try to beat other Galactic Legends, like I've tried to see them beat Rey and even Kylo. And the fact that they can also beat Darth Revan, they totally got stomped by Gas. But they're a very interesting team. They have a lot of solutions. They just start from the gate. They gain turn meter whenever they're killing. I think they're a good A-tier pick. If you do invest into this team, if you have really good speed mods, in Darkside TV you can use Gear 12 Imp Troopers with, of course, Piet, the carry. What an amazing unique he has. to go for a 4 out of 4, as well as even in the assault battles. You have two assault battles, two of the roughest ones, where you can use the Imperial Troopers to help out and aid you in those to go collect some more relic materials, of course. I don't know if we're totally done with A tier at this point, because most of the things that are going to start to happen here are which cast is with. Okay, Vader. Well, Vader is interesting. Vader is one of those I think I want to approach more towards the end. But for example, a character like Jedi Revan with the Old Republic, it's a team that if you're using them again with the Old Republic, they're gonna have a very hard time beating either of these 4 teams, for example. But if you're starting to put Jedi Knight Luke into this squad, if you're starting to put General Skywalker into this squad, then I do think that Jedi Knight Revan is going to be a lot better, because he's totally cast dependent in regards to how good he is. The character himself is amazing. I mean, the character himself can be used with Kenobi or Rey or Jamel. He's great. He's got his mark. He tries to feed off the turns as much as he can with TM swaps, keep going and smacking some more people. Jedi Knight Revan is amazing. However, if you're using him with the Old Republic cast without trying to steal as many teams as you could, I'd say he's B tier. If you're using him with JKL and, for example, you've got the SLK kind of ready to go, he would easily bump up to an A tier. That being said, I think you probably want to leave him in a... You either leave him here with an Old Republic Jedi squad, because we're trying to not destroy teams as much as we can. Although I actually forgot to add JKL here. Let me add JKL. Give me a second. Okay, fixed. Now we have Jedi Knight Luke. Jedi Knight Luke. I mean, if you're gonna use him with Jedi Knight Revan, you know, JKL looks pretty good. I think a team that does include JKL would be a whole lot better than, for example, your Old Republic Jedi, and I think that difference needs to be there. I think when you consider JKR a counter over to SLKR, it's mostly because Luke does all of the hard work, and therefore Luke deserves to be A tier status. And of course, one very good counter to Luke, for example, is Darth Vader. You get Moff Gideon to be faster than Shock tier Hermit Yoda, and it basically cancels all of that counter out. Vader, as long as he's also outspeeding, is just very strong against Darth Revan, pretty strong against Imp Troopers, can beat the JKL team. I do think that, you know, especially given how strong he is against Galactic Legend Rey, it's an easy A tier. I do start to see this A tier getting really cluttered. I don't know if we should try to differentiate this a little bit better, because I'm really biased towards these teams. They're very good. So maybe we'll have to nail this down a little bit further in regards to the A tier and perhaps give some unworthy B tiers in here. But we'll see. General Grievous. I don't think you guys are not gonna see me put him here. He can beat... I was practicing a little bit of him going against Jedi Master Luke leads, going against Sith Eternal Emperor leads. I've seen him even beat Galactic Legend Rey. He's a very good character. It's not that the team is bad or anything like that. It's just the team that there's too many counters to. For example, Bad Batch now do 61 banners against General Grievous if they're all relicked out. BAM will also have a reliable way of getting the 60 banner, especially with that protection equalization and then heal that they also have. So Grievous is definitely not as good as it used to be, but it's still an amazing banner stealer. It can still do a whole lot of amazing things. I think this team can't be totally slept on. And there's some variations where you can make it a little bit more interesting. And of course, Night Sisters can also work pretty well to actually destroy General Grievous, but I don't think I want to tier Talzin, because I don't think it's one of the teams we should be working towards at this point in the game. Of course, it's a good team, but I think if you haven't done all of these teams yet, then you probably should do that beforehand. Which team to work on next? Let's see. So we have Crew First Order because of the requirements, as well as JTR. Now, JTR with Hero Bros is a team that is often unexploited, but it's a very, very, very good team. As long as you have a fast BB-8 and a fast R2, or, you know, you have all of that TM at the start, you have a fast Hero Finn, a fast Hero Poe. If you do have all of those components together, you can make a super solid JTR team that can take out a lot of things where she's just outspeeding and control the battle right from the get-go. I'm not sure I would tier this at the same rate as Grievous and JKR, but it's a very, very good team. I think it will depend mostly if we start dropping teams from A tier. But JTR's power level is insane, and the ability to recover banners as well via BB-8 and the Resistance Hero Finn is great. Boss Hunters or Django Hunters, what an amazing team this one is. If you have Grief Karger for the cleanse, you have Mando for an immediate disintegrate, it's just a very powerful team at the moment. Not sure how to rate this one. So for example, if you try to look up matchups against some of these squads in here, Bounty Hunters can beat General Skywalker, they can also beat Darth Revan. Against Tierlist, they probably have a few more difficulties against them. Against Imp Troopers, it totally depends on who outspeeds who. Don't think it's totally reliable, but again, it really depends on which speeds you have. Probably wouldn't use it against JKL. Against Darth Vader. The only issue that I have with an A tier Darth Vader is that if you see Darth Vader on defense, he's just not menacing at all. However, his capabilities on offense are amazing. So it's one of those. And like Imp Troopers actually have a very solid win rate on defense. Which is, it's so hard though. It's so hard. Because his offense capabilities are great. So hard. I'll keep him here for now. But I do think Bounty Hunters is one of those teams that is just slapping and it's doing pretty well. Especially, you do need to have them well modded. Would this be a team that I would invest over any of these though? That's the thing. If I were to, for example, C tier Bounty Hunters, which isn't totally fair to them, it's really not. But it's a question of, in terms of priorities and teams that you're working towards. For example, Darth Revan doesn't, well, I guess he can work with Sith Eternal, but he doesn't really work towards a Galactic Legend. But it's still a team that you feel like you can use 2 or 3 characters and they can undersize pretty often and they will take care of themselves. While most of these other characters here all work towards Galactic Legends or work super well with them. Darth Revan is anti-synergetic with Sith Eternal Emperor. Darth Revan does work actually pretty well with Supreme Leader Kylo. The same cannot be said about Bounty Hunters, and all of these characters here do kind of have some relationship with Galactic Legends, whereas Bosk does not. I think this is being really unfair to them in regards to what they can actually punch up against, because they can totally beat these two teams, which are some of the best in the game, but your priority to gear them up is just not there. There's no Galactic Legends to fight with, there's no Galactic Legends to farm with them. I mean, I guess you get a Relic 7 Django, but you still need to build the rest of the team. That's still 4 characters that Relic levels you're missing, because the team really needs to be up there to pull off the amazing counters against these two. So I don't know, I think this is still being a little bit harsh on Bounty Hunters, so I'd leave that connotation there. Alright, let's move up. So Bad Batch. This Bad Batch team, very interesting. I've seen some testing on it, but it's still not too reliable. I don't know how we can tier this team yet. I don't think it's fair to give them more than what we have on Boss because of lack of knowledge, to be fair, at this point. But I think it's still a team that's worth bringing up just to talk a bit. If you bring in Gideon, they can beat General Skywalker, as long as you stun Rex. I've seen someone use Bad Batch, and with the Gideon that would outspeed Rex, they got the turn meter, they got all of that part right, and then when the tech throws the AoE, they stun everybody but Rex, and Rex cleanses all of that up, and that's just a failed counter. So there's some reliability on the debuffs that they use, where if you get that 50% ratio to resist certain debuffs on certain characters, you can be pretty unhappy with the results. So it's not totally reliable. You're at least having a poor win rate on some of those scenarios. Can go down pretty poorly. Against Darth Revan, it's a very gnarly battle. Against CLS, you kind of need Zeres to help you with the sustain from their constant hits. Against Sim Troopers, as long as you outspeed, I guess you're fine. You steal some buffs, or you gain some turn meter with Echo, and that can work. It's still a team that's, and of course they do super well against Grievous. They can also do super well against Jedi Knight Revan with a lot of control from the start. They just steal the tenacity up, remove those 5 buffs, and gain 25% turn meter, if I recall correctly. So Bad Batch definitely has some intriguing future potential, but they're still missing a 5th as well. So the team is still lacking something with all of these constant permutations on the 5th. Do you use Gideon? Do you use Shakti? Do you use Zeres? Do you use someone else? It's still pretty difficult in regards to which character you use, and I think that they would belong on a C tier here. And that brings us over to Bam. Bam can do 60 banners on Grievous, can beat Gas, can beat Darth Revan, can beat CLS. But again, it's one of those teams that you need 5 relics to use. I mean, most teams need 5 relics, right? But for example, if you say Gas 5s, they can undersize a lot of things. DR, BSF, Malik, they undersize a lot of things. BMIG Quill, not so much. They don't really undersize a whole lot. So the team definitely needs this specific composition. They need a specific turn order where you want a Quill to go first, then Bam, and then you can start doing your damage with the rest of your team between Cara Dune, IG-11, Bo-Katan, whoever you're using in that squad. Nest, for example, also very used in there. It's a team that needs to be tip-top to just perform as well as it should, and I'm not sure you're really looking to gear up a team like that. And again, they also don't contribute towards any Galactic Legends at the moment. I don't think we can give them anything past the C tier over here to Bam. He does have Razor Crest. Razor Crest is still not 7 stars for any player yet, but once it is, maybe that bumps up his abilities here a little bit higher on a tier list, because his ship would just be more meta-defining. And if we were really to bring ships into the equation, what about the Padme team? It has GK, it has JK, it has Ahsoka. It's basically owns the bone of the Galactic Republic fleet. And speaking of Padme, she no longer has, she's not popularly used against Darth Revan anymore. I do think Commander Ahsoka Tano is going to bring some spark into this team if it's decided to be that way, because the Padme team looks like it's also going to be butchered for the Jedi Master Kenobi squad. There's going to be a very light balance in regards to, do you want to keep your Padme squad? What are you beating with it? Or do you just want to implement it to your Jedi Master Kenobi squad? Very difficult decisions to do yet. I still kind of want to see what we end up doing in regards to destroying a Padme team. Do you use weaker Jedi with JMK? Do we delete some counters to bring in some Jedi for him to use as well? I don't know. Very interesting. That's what I think. But Padme, I would like to put her in the B tier, because if you use Padme with Gas, you can beat Gas 501st. If you use Padme with R2, it also does pretty well. Against Darth Revan, Jesus Christ, that's a battle of the ages there. Against Malik, it's incredibly difficult to kill him. You need some nice potency on Jedi Knight Anakin. You need some good luck to land that heal immunity when it matters to actually do the deed and finish off Darth Malik. But maybe with Commander Ahsoka Tano, it's a lot easier to kill Darth Malik, and you have a much better win condition against that squad. So I kind of want to keep Padme up in a decent tier, because she's just going to be a relevant squad against that. Against Imperial Troopers, if you're fighting Gideon, I guess that there will still be some TM manipulation that will try to use on themselves, which allows the Padme team to go. A lot of assists, but no real win condition against them. So this is actually an interesting squad to use, but it's still a 70% win rate. Against CLS, they get TM rolled, they don't do a whole lot. If you do take a turn, you can still win. Against Darth Vader, it's an easy one. Against Jedi Knight Luke, I'd probably rate Jedi Knight Luke's options. That being said, this well against Gas, this well against Darth Revan, beats these 3 teams here pretty easily too. I'd say Padme can belong in a B tier team. Although, again, Bounty Hunters can do the same that Padme does, basically, sometimes even better, especially for banners. But Padme and her team basically contribute towards the unlock of General Skywalker and Jedi Master Kenobi. And Padme is also even being used with Rey to beat Jedi Master Kenobi. So there's some interesting things going on with Padme at this point. So I'll probably leave her at a B tier team, and Crew, I think Crew is still one of those that I want to talk just because it's required for Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. But he's nowhere near the same kind of tier as these guys. I don't think I should have really brought him up. But if I brought Crew, I might as well bring in some of these guys. They're pretty good. I'm missing Mon Mothma here. They're pretty decent. They can do some good things. Talzin can be used against Grievous. Newt is an annoying squad to fight on defense. Geonosians, you can use them with Droideka to clean up Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. They're alright squads to work on as well. And of course, Geonosians' party should be bumped up because they can beat the Watt mission. They're the only characters that will give you the Watt shards, or your guild does that for you. So Geonosians, of course, should also deserve some relevance in here. And yeah, I think that's about it. That's just an interesting conversation, really long one, to be fair. Do let me know if this was enjoyable to watch or not. Maybe I do say a lot of things that you guys will disagree with, so leave me in the comments down below things that you guys disagree and you guys would like to talk more about. If you think that this is completely unfair in regards to how ratings go, I think this is pretty odd to classify, but this is probably the way I do it. And yeah, you guys let me know how that is. If you don't like it, of course, leave a dislike. If you do, you can leave a like. We can talk about more of this stuff. We can try format like this a bit more often. And yeah, that will be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see y'all soon.